Imagine this, you want a family car, but you also want an SUV. Maybe you're looking at an electric car, but you kind of want some performance, and also you really want a ute. Surely this kind of thing doesn't exist in one package, or maybe it does. This is the Deepal E07 Multitruck, and it's a vehicle that provides something that we haven't seen in Australia before. It's a really interesting vehicle, and in this video we're going to give you a quick look at what to expect in our first drive of the Deepal E07 in Australia. The Deepal E07 Multitruck comes in two flavours in Australia. There is the entry-level rear-wheel drive model, which is priced from $64,900 plus on-road costs, and that comes with 252 kilowatts and 365 newton meters. Stepping up to the all-wheel drive model with two electric motors gives you a big bump in performance. You've got 440 kilowatts and 645 newton meters here. Now the price goes up as well to $73,900 before on-road, so that's $9,000 more than the entry level. But otherwise, both variants of the Multitruck get a high level of standard equipment. There's a 90 kilowatt hour battery for a claimed electric driving range of 510 kilometers for the all-wheel drive and 550 km for the rear-wheel drive model. Both get 21-inch diamond cut alloy wheels and height adjustable air suspension, along with that trick boot packaging that can transform between an SUV and a ute, kind of a van as well, all at the press of a button. On the inside, you've got heated, ventilated and massaging front and rear outboard seats, along with memory and loads of electric adjustment up front, including a trick zero gravity mode. There's also interior ambient lighting, a head-up display, a 15.4-inch infotainment display that can tilt its direction, a 360-degree camera system, wireless charging and Napa leather interior trimming, so loads and loads of spec for your money. The Deepal E07 Multitruck comes with a 7-year and 160,000 kilometre warranty in Australia, along with an 8-year and 240,000 kilometre warranty for the battery. Now this E07 joins the S07 from Deepal, which is a Chinese electric car brand. The S07 is a fairly conventional medium-sized SUV, but I've got to say this is nothing but conventional. So it is a 5-seat vehicle. It's around 5 meters long, a little bit over in fact, so it's quite big for a medium-sized SUV. You can see it's got a pretty big boot space here. Rakes right down at the back. But this is where things get extremely unconventional overall. So let me just run you through what's going on here. Pretty interesting design, I have to say. But I'll press a button down here to start with. Watch this glass pop open here. So that's our first moving piece of glass. And look at the top here. That slides forward as well. So two pieces of moving glass there. Now that's moving out of the way. I'll just move it out of the way a little bit further. So some people are referring to this as a sort of hybrid ute in a way, because now we've got kind of like a dual cab ute, right? So there's room for people in the front here, and then there is an open load space at the back. So yeah, I can kind of see that. It's a dual cab ute, but things continue to get strange from there. Now let me just open this tailgate here at the back. That comes down, also electric by the way. But this is where the real magic happens, I think, because we can deploy these steps here, these buttons. That piece of glass goes down. Now you'll see, peeking in the front there, those seats are actually deploying forwards electrically. I'll just open the inside here. You can see it. There you go, look at that. They're going down. And next, this car kind of turns into what I would call a van, a 2-seat van with a lot of load space. So look at that. Let me close this up again just to give you a bit of a look. If you were going camping with the two of you, for example, you could put a mattress in the back here. You could fit a lot of gear into the back as well. So that is really interesting stuff. I'll just show you the front as well while we're here. The interior is quite interesting. A little bit Tesla style, I suppose you could say, because we've got no dash cluster in the front here. We do have a head-up display. We do have wireless charging. We've got a lot of the features you would expect. Big infotainment display that does pretty much all of your controls. But you're buying this car because I suppose it's different to others out there, and it certainly is a lot different. power outlets here for all of your camping accessories and whatnot. It's fairly water sealed as well actually, which is nice. There you have it, USB-C, 12 volt and a 240 power plug. So there you go, camping adventures all sorted out. It's a confounding car to look at. It's a confounding car in terms of the packaging, absolutely, but I've got to say it's also quite surprising in terms of the driving experience, because this is a car that has up to 440 kilowatts of power. That's a huge amount of power, by the way. It's on air suspension as well, so it's not your average electric car in terms of the drive. Now, huge straight line performance, yes, absolutely, and even the rear-wheel drive model is plenty sprightly enough in my opinion, but the ride and handling, this is definitely more about the ride and not so much about the handling. Steering is relatively slow, it's a bit ponderous. Some of the driving can be a bit strange mid-corner. This isn't a car that you really enjoy driving on that favorite back road of yours. So once you start getting stuck into it, it kind of does fall apart a little bit in that regard. So don't buy this if you want a really accurate and sharp driver's car. But if you want something that is comfortable, quite absorbent, and I guess unapologetic in the way that it wants to just be a smooth riding vehicle, this is pretty good. Steering is slow, yes, but it doesn't really matter. There's a lot of body roll to be had, but if you're not hammering through corners, it's less of a big deal. And like so many other electric cars out there, this is refined, easy, compliant, and all of those things. Thankfully, the driver monitoring system, things like emergency lane keep assistance, traffic sign recognition, that's all been tuned up here. It's nowhere near as diabolical as it was with the S07, which has been fixed as well, but initially that car was really painful to drive. This really dials back on a lot of those features, which I think is fantastic. But otherwise, as long as you don't want something that's really dynamically capable, I mean, it is fast in a straight line, but it feels a bit unwieldy, to be honest with you. Otherwise, this is, in many ways, not a bad car. Now, this is a very initial first drive for us, so we've got a lot more to learn about this car in due course when we get to spend more time with it. But we've seen fuel economy of around 18 to 20 kilowatt hours per 100. That's with the all-wheel drive model, but we haven't been doing as much town driving. It's been more rural roads, 100 k's an hour and that sort of thing. So we'll know more about this car from the family point of view soon. But what is the most interesting about it for me is just the fact that it is such a different proposition. In this industry, in this game at the moment, we are bouncing from electric medium SUV to electric medium SUV. There's so many of them and you could throw a blanket over them in so many ways, but this just feels so different. And it's not just the packaging either, it is the driving experience. It's softly sprung, it's easy and smooth. Definitely not dynamic. You need to really turn the wheel at sometimes there to get it to rip into a corner. Doesn't do it really wonderfully, but for cruising around with your kids in the back, and maybe you've gone to Bunnings and thrown a bit of gear into that so-called tub in the back, it's interesting. It's a car to really get your head around, but hey, maybe this is crafting some sort of new, strange segment for the Aussie market. I don't know. Will Australian buyers really resonate with this, or will they just put it in the too strange basket? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure me personally either. It's a lot to get your head around, to be honest with you. But hey, it's here and it's an option, and it is undoubtedly interesting. Well, I've got to say, after spending some time with this E07 Multitruck in Australia, I'm still a little bit confused by it. Not by the packaging so much. I think that works quite well actually, and it does provide something that is genuinely unique in the Australian market and quite interesting as well. But the driving experience does bring a few shortcomings into it. The ride quality is quite soft, yes, but it loses composure at times. So it's not really a driver's car, and if you're driving in particular conditions, this might not be the best pick for you. But it does work as an electric car, it does work as an SUV, and it gives you incredible value for money as well. So there's a lot of things going for this multi-truck. We're going to hold our full conclusion until we spend more time with it, but hey, it's interesting, it works well, and it's here in Australia. So if you're interested, have a closer look. Hit that like button and make sure you have subscribed to Drive on YouTube so you don't miss out on the future review of this multi-truck or any other new car in the Australian market. And if you've got any questions, let us know about this car or any others at Drive.com.au.